So we did this for Championship Strikers a couple weeks ago, so what I thought we'd do today is switch it up and rank Championship wingers from worst to best. So the categories that they will be ranked by will be bang average, unproven, inconsistent, good, very good, and elite. So obviously take into consideration this is just my opinion. Feel free to disagree with me in the comments down below. And before you do watch the video, leave in the comments down below wingers from your clubs, where would you put them into those categories? We've got a lot of people to go over, so if you do go in to enjoy, make sure you leave a like. But without any further ado, let's hop into this. So starting to get out with Joe Lolley. Now I've thrown him into the very good category, but this was a player who I was pondering on for quite a while actually. He's so close to getting into that elite tier, and in all honesty, I'm open to having my mind changed on this one. He was brilliant for Forest last season. He scored 11 goals and got 11 assists. I just felt like maybe towards the second half of last season he tailed off a little bit, but I feel like the whole Forest squad did under Martin O'Neill. If he puts up similar numbers this season and gets into double figures in goals and assists once again, he'll probably be getting into that elite bracket. It's a really close one. He scored some absolute bangers last season as well. I really rate Joe Lolley as a player. He is up there as one of the best wingers in the league, and he's between those top two categories for me. Callum O'Dowda, I'm going to throw into the inconsistent category. This was another tough one as well. I quite like Callum O'Dowda. I think he's got a skillful winger, can definitely go past a man and beat him. Last season scored 4 goals and got 4 assists. I just feel like his levels are a little bit up and down. Tom Lawrence, you never really know what you get from him. I'm throwing him into the good category. On the opening day of the season, he was absolutely unplayable against Huddersfield. Scored 2 goals in that game for Derby and won them that match. Didn't follow up the following week though. You just never quite know what you're going to get from Tom Lawrence. On his day, he is very good, but his day isn't all the time. Last season probably didn't have the best year, only scoring 6 goals and getting 2 assists. His best season probably actually came while he was out on loan at Ipswich, where he scored 9 goals and got 9 assists that season. Since making his move to Derby, he has been a little bit up and down. I think he's a good winger at this level, but could be a little bit more consistent. Elias Chair from QPR, I'm going to throw into the unproven category just because I've not seen enough of him yet so far, but had a really good loan spell out to League 2 last season with Stevenage, where he scored from inside his own half. He's definitely one to watch for the future and someone who I could see having quite the impact on QPR this season. Helder Costa now of Leeds United, I do think he's a very good winger at this level. Actually yet to make a start for Leeds in the league so far. I think when he does nail down that first team place, we will start seeing more goals and assists from him. His best season with Wolves came back in 16/17, where he got 10 goals and 8 assists. Jefferson Montero, I'm going to throw into inconsistent just for the fact that he can't really play 90 minutes without getting injured. He got a goal and 3 assists last season, both playing for Swansea, and had a loan spell out to West Brom. On his day, he can be very good, but you just can't rely on him. Tom Bokusen, I'd say, is a good Championship winger, and someone I would say is actually maybe a little bit underrated, actually. Preston definitely feel the absence of him when he's out of the side, and even when he's not scoring goals, he's always contributing to the team with the way he likes to play. So fast, probably one of the fastest players in the Championship. Last season scored 6 goals, the season before he got 8 goals and 7 assists. Molly Watkins is going to be the first player who I'm going to throw into the bang average category. Things just haven't worked out for him in the Championship. Since making his move to Norwich and then after that to Bristol City, bang average. The first player making it into the elite tier is of course going to be Pablo Hernandez. I think everyone was expecting him to be there, but an absolute magician on the ball. Got 12 goals and 12 assists for Leeds last season. Since making his debut for Leeds in the Championship, no one has had more assists than him in the league. He's already started out the season well with Leeds scoring 2 goals and 2 assists this far in. The game he had against Stoke, he was absolutely instrumental. I think that elite top tier for me is just players who I just enjoy watching, and Hernandez is someone who can just absolutely run the show. One-touch football. I think so far he's been absolutely thriving under Marcelo Bielsa, and that will only continue going into this season, and there is a shout in there for the best player in the Championship, certainly one of the most technically gifted. With Athletics, Jamal Lowe, I'm going to throw into unproven because we've not really seen much of him at this level so far. Obviously recently signing from Portsmouth, where he scored 17 goals in all competitions there last season. I do have quite high hopes for him, but we're just not seeing enough of him yet. Albert Adoma, I'll say, is a good Championship winger. He's already come on twice from the bench to save Forest and rescue them a point this season. Last season for Villa, didn't have his best year, scored 4 goals and got 2 assists. The season before that he scored 14 goals, so I think he is a very effective winger in this league, even at his age of 31. Still has a lot more to give. Malik Wilkes of Barnsley, another one who we've not really seen all too much of at this level so far, so I'll throw him into the unproven category. Really like the look of him at Doncaster last season. In the game that Preston had against Doncaster in the FA Cup, he absolutely tore us apart. I think he'll do well for Barnsley this year. Despite North End signing Josh Giannelli in January, we've still not really seen all too much of him, and certainly not enough for me to make a concrete judgment on him. So for now, I'm going to throw him into unproven as well. And Jared Bowen is going to be joining Pablo Hernandez in the elite tier. Another player who I just love watching. When you're capable of scoring above 20 goals as a winger in the Championship, that gets you a ticket into the elite tier in my view. He scored 22 goals last season and picked up 4 assists as well. I was amazed that Hull managed to keep hold of him, but having him until at least January, I still think he'll rip it up this season. He's already got 4 goals and 1 assist in all competitions. I think he's mastered the art of cutting inside onto his left foot from the right hand side, similar to Iron Robin, and is an absolute joy to watch. He's an absolutely great player. Sami Amiobi is a really unorthodox footballer. I'm going to throw him into the inconsistent category. He's obviously just signed for Forest. At the time, I wasn't really too sure about the signing, but he's actually played fairly well so far for them. Last season, obviously, he was at Bolton, who went on to get relegated, and his performances were a little bit up and down. He scored 4 goals and got 3 assists last season. I think that inconsistent would sum up fairly good. Matty Phillips of West Brom, I think he's a very good winger. He scored 5 goals and got 7 assists last season in 25 starts. However, he did play quite a bit of his football at wing back. Now under Bilic and the fact that he will actually be playing out on the wing, I see him scoring quite a few goals this season. He's already got 2 goals and an assist 1 month into this year, and with some of the options that West Brom have got going forward this season, I can see him scoring quite a few actually. Tom Ince is a weird one. I've thrown him into the good category. His move to Stoke hasn't really worked out. I know that he's mostly been playing as a number 10 recently, as Stoke don't play with wingers, but I'd still class Tom Ince as a winger. Last season, in what was a pretty dire Stoke season, he still managed to get 6 goals and 7 assists. Although I wouldn't say his performances in the past couple of years would warrant him getting into that very good category. He once was a brilliant winger, you know, from his time at Blackpool and then Derby. We saw him consistently getting into double figures in the Championship, but that same player just doesn't quite seem to be there anymore at Stoke. I still think he's a good player, but not quite at the level he once was. 2 of Swansea City's new signings, Kalulu and Peterson, I'm both going to throw it into the unproven category. Probably Peterson I'm most looking forward to seeing throughout this season. Next up, we got Joseph Zoon. If we're being real, he's been pretty bang average since he's joined Derby. Am I being a little bit harsh there? I don't know really. He scored 2 goals last season. He had an average match rating of 6.24, which really isn't great. This far into the season, he's attempted 18 crosses and has a completion rate of 0%. I thought he was pretty decent while he was at Brentford, but Derby just seemed to have ruined him. He's not the same player he once was. Kamil Grosicki's going to make it into the very good category. Probably one of the most underrated wingers in the league, actually. Last season, scoring 9 goals and getting 12 assists. Already this season, he's shown his quality with that outrageous goal he scored against Millwall. Obviously, for Hull, Jared Bowen is the player who gets the most of the plaudits there, but Grosicki's such an underrated player. Hull are blessed with 2 really good wide men, and Grosicki is definitely up there for me. I think he's brilliant. Magoma from Birmingham, I'm going to say he's a decent Championship winger. I'll throw him into the good category. I think that sometimes when he's out of the squad, Birmingham actually miss a little bit of something down that side. He gives them a bit of pace. His end product can be a little bit inconsistent at times, but I think he's a good Championship winger still. Josh Murphy of Cardiff, I'm going to say he's a good Championship winger. Is he good or is he very good? You can let me know down below. I'd say he's quite a good player at this level. So far this season, scoring 1 goal and getting 2 assists. Last time he was in the Championship with Norwich, he scored 7 goals. This far into the season, he's probably looked like Cardiff's most threatening player going forward for them. I think he will be quite big for them as the season does go on, but from what he's shown so far, I'd say he's a good player. I'd probably say the same for his brother Jacob as well. I'll put them both into the good category. Obviously, he's currently on loan at Sheffield Wednesday. His best season also came in the Championship with Norwich City, where he scored 9 goals and got 6 assists. Andre Ayew of Swansea City, I think, will be very good at this level. We've already seen glimpses of him so far this season, you know, in the game against QPR, where he got 2 assists. I can't say I saw all too much of him last season while he was out on loan at Fenerbahce, but he's got a decent goal scoring record throughout his career. He's got into double figures in the Premier League for Swansea before. They did well to keep hold of him, and I think he'll be an effective player for them this year. Gavin Massey of Wigan Athletic, I'm going to say is inconsistent. He scored a massive goal for them last season when they went on to beat Leeds at Ellen Road, but for performances week in, week out, he's not really there. Sergio Canos was a difficult one. I was toying with either good or inconsistent. I've thrown him into the good category though. You know, he got 7 goals and 7 assists last season. I think that with Sergio Canos, in terms of a technically gifted winger, he is very good. It's just his sort of decision making at times that lets him down a little bit. This season though, he's started all 6 matches for Brentford so far, and with Ollie Watkins pushing up into the centre, this could be quite a big year for Sergio Canos. Anthony Knockaert is going to be the latest player to make it into that top tier elite category. I mean, he won the Championship Player of the Year the last time he was in this league, so if that's not enough to get you into that elite tier, then I'm not sure what will be. That Brighton side that got promoted, I thought played some absolutely brilliant football, and Knockaert was at the centre of that. He scored some absolute belters that season, scoring 15 and getting 8 goals. He was absolutely pivotal for them, and he'll look to replicate that form for Fulham this season. Obviously, he's played his last 2 seasons in the Premier League with Brighton, but now being back in the Championship, I think this potentially could really rip it up. Luke Thomas, who made his move from Derby to Barnsley, I'll throw into the unproven category because I've still yet to see too much of him so far. He started the season out fairly well though, getting 1 goal and 1 assist, and at only 20 years old, they've got a lot of potential going forward. Adam Reach was a really difficult one. I've thrown him into the very good category. I think he's between the good and very good tier. I'd be interested to know from Sheffield Wednesday fans, where would you place Adam Reach? I quite like him though. Over his career so far, he's got some highlight reel with some of the absolute bangers that he scored. Last season for Wednesday, he got 8 goals and 7 assists. It probably doesn't help him that he is so diverse in the fact that he can play in so many positions. His best position probably is on the wing, and if he does stick to that, then I think you've got a very good player there. Michael Jacobs of Wigan Athletic and Barry Mackay of Swansea City, I'm both going to throw into that inconsistent category. Barry Mackay's an interesting one. I remember when he first signed for Swansea, he looked fairly decent, but his career just seemed to tail off after that. He scored a brilliant goal against Bolton last season, but not really someone you can rely on. Billy Bowden, I'm going to throw into the good category. He's looked absolutely outstanding for Preston so far this season. It was such a shame that he was out injured for all of last season, because you could tell that when we first signed him, there's definitely a player in there. Such a skillful player on the ball, brilliant at winning penalties. With how tricky he likes to be on the ball, defenders just end up clipping him. I'm really hopeful that he can stay fit for a full season this time round, because if he can, there's a serious player in there. Ollie Watkins was a player who I was sort of between the very good and good category. I've thrown him into the very good tier though, because for the past 2 seasons he's got into double figures from the wing, scoring 10 goals in those previous 2 seasons. This year he's actually been playing in that number 9 position, so I'm interested to see how he gets on over a full season. But there was Premier League interest in the summer for Watkins from Crystal Palace, if I remember correctly. I do think he's a very good player at this level. I know that some Birmingham fans are quite excited about Fran Villalba over this season. I'm throwing him into the unproven category because we're still yet to see all too much of him. The game that Birmingham had against Bristol City put in a really good performance in that game. Brightside Samuel, I'm still going to throw into unproven, even though he has played quite a bit of Championship football. I think he made 18 appearances from the bench last season for QPR, but he looks to be quite an important player for them this season. He's already made 4 starts for them. I'd like to see him get a consistent run in the team before I make my final judgment on him. Kadeem Harris, I'll say, is a good Championship winger. It's always been his end product that needs to be the consistent thing with him, but since making his move to Sheffield Wednesday, he's already become an integral player for them. Adding pace out wide, he's really been an effective player, quite a direct player, likes to run at people, and if he can continue this form over a full season, he'll be a very good player. I said my top tier was just for players that I just love to watch play, and Ben Rama is exactly that. Pressed to play in Brentford at Deepdale at the weekend, and Ben Rama is a player who I'm looking forward to seeing play. I thought that last season he was absolutely just unbelievable to watch at times. He had the end product to go along with that as well though. He scored 10 goals and got 14 assists. So skillful and tricky on the ball, he perfectly fit into the way that Brentford like to play. Brentford did well to keep hold of him. I'm looking forward to seeing another season of him in the Championship because I do think he's a bit of an elite player at this level. Pereira from West Brom looked to be a serious player, already bagging 2 assists, looks like a really technically gifted player. I've thrown him into the very good category because he's got quite a bit of pedigree coming into the Championship. Cabano, I'm going to throw into the inconsistent category. I think he's a decent sort of impact player at this level. I'm interested to see how many minutes he'll actually get this season. Junior Hoylett was a bit of a tricky one. I've thrown him into the very good category because I do think he's a very effective winger at this level. The last time he was playing in the Championship when Cardiff were promoted, he was involved in 20 goals that season. I think getting 11 goals and 9 assists. Jerry Skalek of Millwall, he's pretty bang average, isn't he? He's not scored a goal in 3 years, so when you're putting up numbers like that, I can't really put him any higher. He made his move to Millwall last season and things didn't really work out for him. He had an average match rating of 6.23 and didn't really look to be the player he once was at Brighton. Cavallero from Fulham's going to be the latest player to hop into that elite tier. Another player who I just get excited for watching. He was an integral part to Wolves' promotion season, scoring 9 goals and getting 12 assists. He scored some brilliant goals along the way, and I think he justifiably just about sneaks into that top tier. Marvin Johnston, Middlesbrough, for the time being I'm going to throw him into inconsistent because he didn't really do much last season, but to be fair to him so far, he started out fairly brightly under Woodgate, so a full season under Woodgate and he could be maybe pushing up a little bit higher. Conor Mahoney and Jack Harrison, I'm also going to throw into that inconsistent category. Both have got potential to go higher if they have a solid year this time round. Mahoney last time at Birmingham was a little bit hit or miss, but I've liked the look of him so far at Millwall. Jack Harrison quite similar to that, a little bit hit or miss for Leeds last season, but Bielsa obviously sees something in him to bring him back. Diane Garner from West Brom, from what I've seen of him so far, looks to be a good player. You know, he won them the game they had against Luton, scoring 2 goals off the bench and scored a fantastic chip against Blackburn. Speaking of Blackburn, Adam Armstrong, I'm going to throw into that inconsistent category for the time being. He started 2019 out absolutely fantastically, scoring goals and getting assists, but that level of performances, they're not always quite there with Adam Armstrong. He's got potential to be higher, and Joe Rothwell for the time being I'll throw into unproven. Jonathan Lecco I'll throw into unproven for the time being as well, but he started out at Charlton really brightly. Then we'll finish off with the pair from Huddersfield, Diakabi and Colin Quaner. I'll put them both into inconsistent for the time being. Diakabi looked to be a bundle of pace, but I'm not quite sure if the final product's there just yet. I'll wait to see how he gets on over a full season, but from what I've seen of him so far, it looks to be a little bit hit or miss. But as you can see on screen now, guys, there are my rankings for Championship wingers. Obviously, take into consideration this is just my opinion, and we couldn't go over every single winger in the Championship or we'd be here for absolutely ages, but if I've not included someone from your club, feel free to leave their name in the comments down below and I'll say what category I put them into. But apart from that, guys, that will now go on to wrap it up for today's video. So if you're going to enjoy, make sure you leave a like. It is always massively appreciated. Make sure you subscribe for some regular Championship content, and make sure you stay tuned for tomorrow's video where our weekly score predictions will be coming back. But apart from that, guys, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.